man. Hello, Mgtows. Fix my sound. There we go, man. Hello, Mgtows. Fix my sound. Everything sounds great. Welcome to Traversable Mgtow. Traversable Mgtow. We do Traversable Mgtow for a reason, because sometimes you just need some help getting along, across something, through something, and that's where I come in. Been doing this a long time. Today's topic will be an important topic for you because we hear it all the time. Mgtows, you're just afraid of being lonely. No, that's not it. That could never be it. Mgtows generally don't fear being lonely. Matter of fact, humans don't fear being lonely. There's a lot of things humans fear. They fear a lot of things. They fear violence. They fear things in the dark. Being lonely is something for, it's not a human quality. A matter of fact, most humans that I know will tell you, and ask the person next to you, ask the person on this side of you, and ask the person on this side of you if he doesn't enjoy his solitude. Most people will tell you he goes out into the woods, they go fishing by themselves. They need some alone time to untangle things. Solitude is good. Mgtows figured that out a long while ago, and we enjoy our solitude. But we get these people that come around and they say Mgtows are afraid of being alone. Loneliness. It's not loneliness that they're talking about. They're confused. Most of the people in this world are pretty dense. They're pretty stupid. They don't know how to articulate. They don't have their words. They don't know how to articulate what they're feeling. I watch primetime TV so once in a while I just sit down and I make myself a cup of tea like I did today, and I watch primetime TV, and I usually don't make it too far into any of these TV shows, and it's for a reason, because I know what the plot's going to be. The plot is going to be love, and the plot is going to be wrapped around these things of love, and somebody enters somebody's life, and there's a lot of chaos, and here's how the plot's going to go. There's a lot of chaos, and things happen, and she yells at him, and he yells at him, and the thing that happens is after all that yelling, after all that whoring, some of these things get like, she cheated on me, he cheated on me. Some of these things get worse, like there was a Russian spy and she came into my life, and chaos and blah, blah, blah. And fantasy fiction begins, and he was a pirate, and this woman came in, and chaos and chaos. And that's what they're saying. They're saying when you get and you fall for these things, there's all this chaos. And they're not talking about loneliness. They're not talking about loneliness at all. And that's one thing that I figured out a long time ago. Most humans just they're attracted to that. I thought the perfect Mgtow thing that we should say. I see this in politics. I see this in most shows. I see this in news. I see this in everything. Humans are attracted to the chaos of things. Humans are attracted to things that's going to make them uncomfortable, that take them out of their zone. Mgtow should do the same thing. They should say the Mgtow route is a hard route, and it'll complicate your life. And for some people, it may ruin your life. But for most people, Mgtow, they're never going to get it. So please stay away, because it'll ruin your life. And that should be what we project Mgtow as, but we always fight about these things, and we see these people that come into around Mgtow, and they're giving all these reasons why they do this. And you just need to look at primetime TV. You just need to look at the news. You just need to look at politics. You just need to look at how people act. People aren't afraid of being lonely. Most people love their solitude. And this is the most important lesson you're going to learn this week or this month or maybe even this year. People are not afraid of being lonely. Most people like their solitude. What people are really, really afraid of, They're afraid of being bored. They're afraid of being bored, and they confuse that with loneliness. And that's my lesson today. You can take that at face value. I can end this show right now, and I just told you one of the most important things you're ever going to learn in Mgtow in your life. People are not afraid of being lonely. What you're really, really afraid of is you're really, really afraid of being bored. And I fear being bored too. That's why we do projects. That's why people do projects. That's why men build like pyramids, because they're afraid of being bored. They're afraid of the extraordinary, the ordinary, the extraordinary, the things that around your house that there's no one here. Things are creepily, eerily silent. It's why we buy dogs. It's why we buy cats. It's why we bring these things into our house, so we don't have to be bored, not lonely. People love solitude. Why do you know people love solitude? Ask a guy if he spent a day with his fishing pole next to a pond and didn't have the time of his life. Ask any woman if she needs time to herself to sort things out. Ask any man that if he just doesn't love taking his car and driving around all by himself with nothing in his mind. Every single person you talk to has that sort of thing that they do to unwind. Every single one of us have those things. I take walks. I go for my bike drive. I go fishing. I do these things to get away from to get away from the world. That's why I do that. So I like solitude. But what people are most afraid of in this whole world is not being lonely. It's not solitude. It's boredom. Boredom freaking kills. Boredom, when you're not smart enough, or you're not bright enough, or something in you leaves you all alone in a room or your living room with nothing to do, and that little voice starts wheeling in your head, and you get that little bit of anxiety and you start fidgeting, that's boredom. That's not loneliness. That's not being alone. That's boredom. That's what people feel. 82% of the people out there, blue pill people, never in their life can imagine spending time with themselves in a house like this, in some dark rooms, trying to figure out what to do through the whole day. So they go out and they experiment with others. They're often looking for what they call love, and they know that. They invite chaos into their house, just like every one of those shows you see on primetime. Man's perfectly fine. He's in his apartment. Things are going great. Then he brings love in. How many times have you seen this theme? Every single show, every single movie, every single plot has this same theme. He brings this woman in. All of a sudden, chaos. Bombs start exploding. There's Nazis chasing them. Communists chasing them. He's on a submarine. They're running from a large whale. But there's one thing. He brought that into his life, and then there's chaos. So what are you saying in there? What is Hollywood in this fantasy fiction saying? Love is chaos. Love is chaos. And what these people are really looking for are those lulls in between that chaos and that boredom and all that garbage, where they hug each other and it's just her and him on a couch of cuddles. And that's the part where my buddy used to give me an analogy. He says, Joe, he looked at me one day and he says, when you're done stabbing yourself in the head with a fork, let me know, because that's when it's going to feel the best, when you're done with that. And I didn't understand what he was saying. People injure themselves. People want chaos. People want war. People want excitement. They want trolls. They want all this garbage in their life, just because of one thing, because they don't want to be bored, because they can't figure out how to build something in their garage, because TV is no longer good enough for them, because video games left them vacant for 10 years. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is in the human spirit that does that to them. And I say, this is the most important lesson you're going to get in Mgtow. Mgtow, we teach these things. In the Mgtow philosophy, the first thing is get a hobby, get a dog, get a cat. I don't care. Start growing a plant. See if you can grow a plant. And if you can grow a plant, you're a pretty good dude. Have a garden. Do something. Keep your mind off of that. Go fishing. That's the first thing anybody in Mgtow is going to tell you. Because you ain't afraid of being lonely. None of us are afraid of being lonely. There wasn't a human ever born that was afraid of being lonely. Lonely is a lonely is an abstract an abstract concept of boredom. That's what it is. It's the metaphysical concept of the preposition of boredom. You're bored. What you need is something to do. You could do a million things. I've got my box set up. I can't remember where I put my my bow and arrow, and it's winter and it's wet outside. So what I did is I set my box up inside here, and I've been shooting my bow and arrow at my box just because I'm a dude, because I like doing with that. If I was outside, I'd probably be shooting some hoops or something. And I'm not lonely. None of you guys are lonely. But what you're really afraid of is you're really afraid of that anxious feeling that a lot of people get. And it's a feeling of anxiety when you're sitting there all alone. You're sitting there and TV is just like, eh. And you can't drink another cup of coffee or another cup of tea. And your mind shut off and you're bored. And that's where it gets you. That'll get you going out searching for one of those chaos machines out there. And you know which chaos machine I'm talking about. It comes with a fully operable split V. That's a chaos machine. It'll bring chaos in your life. And that chaos, you might mistake. That chaos, you might mistake for not being bored. Because guess what? When chaos is happening, nobody's bored. It's the most invigorating thing. From bombs falling, ask any man like myself that's been to war, from the bombs falling to the bullets flying by you to you ain't bored. Chaos. And that's what you're bringing into your life. And that's what you get hooked on. That's what most people get hooked on. You get hooked on that kind of thing, that chaos, that excitement. You need it. It becomes an adrenaline trip. It's like people that need to do something exciting every single moment. The people that ride the bikes, they do the triple flips. I do like a wheelie, but I can't do a triple flip. But and you know, it's the X Games. Every day of their lives has to be X Games because they got to be jumping out of a helicopter or an airplane, or they got to be doing a treacherous bike ride down a half a mile ridge because they get addicted to that. That's the same thing people in relationships do. They get addicted to that chaos. What I call the F and F, the fight and the F and F. F and fight, F and fight. And that chaos continues every single day because men and women are not supposed to live together. And there will always be rubbing up against each other in that house. And there will be an everlasting amount of chaos every single day until one of the two people, find another person that brings in a little more excitement into their life than the person they're with. And then they'll leave for that chaos. That's life. There has never, ever been a person on this earth, on this place that I have seen that didn't enjoy a day by the lake all by himself, or riding in his car all by himself to get away from all that chaos. And that's where you find your Mgtow. That's where you embrace it. That's where most Mgtows go, oh, wow, was I stupid? I was addicted. And there's several addictions in that process of love. There's the addiction of not being bored. And maybe people are just too stupid to figure out how to entertain themselves, so they make another person their entertainment. Now, that's one of the first thing I said on one of my first videos, I don't know how many years ago, can't even count that far back anymore, is people, men are made into entertainment. You're made into a sex machine. You're made into a make me happy machine. You're made into this joy me machine. And that becomes your project. You're made into the entertainment. You might as well have a cane and a big hat and a guitar and be singing every single day, and then bringing home the bacon or bringing home the money and bringing home everything and making her life happy, because you become the entertainment machine. And what she's simply saying is she's scared out of her mind that someday she's going to be sitting on that couch bored. Not lonely, but bored. And that tells a lot about a person. That tells a lot about all of us. It tells a lot about Mgtow too. What kind of person does it take to be a Mgtow? A person that's not easily bored. A person that can figure out if he gets a little antsy to take a walk. I like walking. I like walking in the rain. I might go for a walk later in the rain. It just keeps me from being bored. It keeps me from watching primetime TV where every single plot is the same. Man's fine. He introduces chaos to his life. Things get all wacky, and now he's waiting on that moment where cuddles on the couch is like pouring that fork out of your head after you've been stabbing yourself in the head with it for a couple months. Oh yeah, it feels good at that moment, but does it really feel as good as before the chaos came? No. Because that's where the Mgtow was. The Mgtow was always before the chaos came. People are not afraid of being lonely. People are afraid of being bored. So the next time some jackass comes around Mgtow and just says, you guys are just afraid of being lonely. No, you're not. No, we're not. Nobody's afraid of being lonely. Trav, a man who's sarcastic motherfucker who doesn't take anything so serious and makes us fun of all the fucker. Yeah, we make fun of that. Don't take anything that serious. And that's the most important lesson you're going to get in your life. And that's the most important thing that you're going to get in Mgtow, is when you realize these two things are two separate things. I got to move over. These two things are two separate things. One is off the field from the other. Loneliness and boredom are totally different. Nobody in the world can heal loneliness, because a lonely person is probably a neurotic, insensitive, narcissistic person. They're not everybody. That's the exception to the rule. Loneliness is the exception to the rule. What every single person on the planet that I've ever seen in my life, and I've seen a lot of people, what most people were most afraid of is just being bored, not having something to do. And that's where Mgtow comes in. Mgtow's got a lot of things to do. Mgtow says, hey, it's okay to do these things alone. It's okay to shoot down your hall with your bow and arrow like I do at the box down there. I keep it right up here. I can't remember. I think I left it in the bathroom. I bought some new arrows, and I wanted to shoot them all until they busted. And if you're bored, I'm thinking maybe it has a lot to do with intelligence too. If you're bored, you might be stupid. And that's what we see a lot of with the blue pill people. We often say the blue pill people seem like they have IQs that are about 25% less than the regular people, the Mgtows. I consider myself normal. Um, I consider them abnormal. And that's what you should never consider them normal. They're not normal. There's that little fly again. They ain't normal. You're normal. You're a person that's well adjusted in this world that can figure out things to do in his life, can figure out, even alone, can figure out how not to be bored. There's a million things. You don't need to introduce chaos to your life. Chaos is not good. Chaos is when you bring one of those split V's into your house. That's what you're going to get. And you know what? That's going to be pretty exciting. It will be. It's like having bombs going off and bullets being shot at you. It's dodging dishes after you didn't like what you cooked. It's having those uncomfortable arguments about what color fuchsia the wall is going to be. That can last for years. Well, right up to the point where she finds someone that, and you know what the worst period of my marriage was? When things were like, I don't care enough to argue with you. I don't care enough to, I'm just going to sit here and have a cup of tea and stare out, make some popcorn and stare out the window at the kids playing in the backyard. And that was good enough for me. Wasn't good enough for her. She was a chaos person. She needed chaos. And that's when she went out and find chaos. You may not be that chaos person. And the thing that's going to bother everybody else in the whole world about you is because you look boring. Because you're not doing that love thing. You're not bringing the bombs into your house. Yeah, you're not doing that thing that every one of them are so familiar with. Loves chaos. That bothers them. They don't understand you. You look like an alien. Yeah, ask one of them. You look like an alien. You're not stabbing yourself in the forehead with a fork. What's wrong with you? That's what they're saying. You're not harming yourself. You're not harming yourself, Joe. What's wrong with you? Do you think you're so special, Joe, that you can live in this world without pain? Without pain? Do you think you're so special, Joe? That's what they're saying to you, Mgtow, to every single one of you. Because they're crazy. They're not normal. You're normal. They're exceptionally crazy. It goes from Christian suffrage to relational suffrage to whatever. You see it around here all the time with the political people just suffering. They're all suffering. They all hate this. They all hate this. They all hate this. They can't agree on you know what? You know what the cure to all political things are? Make this world a place worth living, and then people will stop killing themselves and people will stop fighting. That's the easiest thing in the whole world. Make this world a world worth living in. But every single one of those people that are running this country are married. They're in the chaos machine, that windmill of chaos. They think that's normal. They could never sit in a room 10 minutes by themselves with nothing to do. Because that's the boredom torture. You want to torture one of them? If you ever want to torture one of them, pull out a chair. When your buddy comes over the next time, pull out a chair, say, sit there, don't move, and I'll be right back. Within 10 minutes, he'll be biting his fingernails off and trying to stab himself in the head with a fork because he'll be so bored. And then you can sit and laugh at him. That's why I don't bring fools or women around here. Because there ain't no such thing as loneliness. Ain't no such thing. People are simply afraid of being bored. And that's because they're too stupid to figure out that he should have got out of that chair and not listened to me. We all need to get out of our chair and stop listening to the man. Get out of your chair. He'll give you that split V. He'll let you search for that split V, enter that chaos into your life, which will destroy all of this like someone dropped a bomb on it. But at least you won't be bored. And that's what Uncle Sam loves. His whole housing industry is based on that. Every industry in the world is based on people not being bored. He loves it. Bernays figured that out right around the turn of the century. People hate being bored. And if you give them something to do, but there is good news for Mgtow in this. And I think maybe one or two of you guys, maybe a half a dozen of you guys might even get it. There's good news. Mgtow breaks that boredom. Mgtow breaks that boredom. Mgtow gives you peace and solitude. Mgtow gives you all the answers on a lot of things in this world. And Mgtow makes you a better person. And you become happy to be around yourself. It becomes a joy after you realize what you've been doing for the last 20 years is freaking insanity. You were never afraid of being lonely. You were just afraid of being bored. And I remember that feeling when I was a kid, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 years old. I got testosterone running through I couldn't sit still for 1 minute. But I remember during those times where I liked going fishing. And there ain't nothing in this world, the solitude of fishing. I wasn't bored. I went fishing. I wasn't lonely. I could sit there all by myself all day, fish every single day. I remember driving forever when I was a kid, just driving, looking at things because I was afraid of being bored. I was never afraid of being lonely. I didn't want somebody else in that seat next to me because the mouth would just be jabbering. I like solitude. And solitude sometimes is just popping a fishing pole next to you and pulling up a rock. You don't even bait the fishing pole, and you just kind of look around. Because you know what? There's nobody providing chaos in that moment. And if you ask every person in this world, if they love that moment, everyone's got one. Whether it's hiding in the bathtub with some candles, or it's driving, or it's fishing, or if it's just going bowling by yourself. Everybody used to like to just go take the bus. I would take the bus. In Cleveland, we got a spectacular, superb busing system. I could take the bus out of my house when I lived in the Heights area on the east side and jump on a bus for $1.25 and ride around and get tickets all day and go all around out to here, back around to the mall, and then back home for $1.25 and spend like 5 hours just looking at shit because I was bored. I was just bored. But I made a little something. I did a little something. I figured out that as a kid that was better than sitting at home twiddling my fingers going, I'm lonely. Because I was never lonely. I just confused it for being bored. And a wise man will always figure out something to do on those times. Hell, we build pyramids. So that was my lesson today. That was my lesson today. Next time one of these fools come around and they start talking that jabber, jabber, jibber, jabber garbage out of their mouth that you're afraid of being alone. You know what it is? You're just afraid of being bored. So you want to use another human being as a pocket, as a split V penis pocket, so you can entertain yourself at another person's expense because you can't entertain yourself. And that's the only answer there is to these people. I want to say hello and thanks for every each one of you coming around, Riff and Silent Sage, and hello, Black Pill Gangsta. Hello, my friend Savage Reality. Who else is in the house? Hello, Eco Crest Castration. Hello, Yellow 46. Is that a cab number? Hello, everybody that's in the house. Hello, Father No, my friend, and the Bing, my friend, and Johnny Five, and whoever else comes around. If I don't get your name, I'm sorry. Thanks a lot for coming around, and thanks a lot for listening to my rambling on of Mgtow. Today, we're talking about the difference between being alone and being lonely. And there's a difference. And most of the time, these idiots are confused being alone with being lonely. Alone. There's two different sentiments that happen there. There's when you break the word down logistically, there's two, but they don't know the difference because what they're really afraid of is being bored. I love that. Man, you're just afraid of being alone. No, I'm not. There's nothing afraid of. No person in the world has ever been afraid of being alone. Matter of fact, most of us crave it. Solitude. You're just afraid of being lonely. I've never been lonely in my life. I'm too smart to be lonely. There has never been a day where I've ever been lonely. Because whether it's shooting my bow and arrow across my living room at the box, which is probably highly illegal, or going out into the garage and grabbing a lawnmower to cut the grass, or taking a walk in the rain, or just riding my bike, I ain't never been lonely. I'm too smart to be lonely. And I think two more Mgtows that there are, you got to realize that we're too smart ever to be lonely. And that's for the blue pill people that can't figure out what to do. They can't get out of that chair, that metaphysical empty chair. They can't never make that empty. Get out of that chair. Don't do what the government wants you to do. Go do something. They like lonely people. They like stupid people that are afraid to get out of that chair. Because they'll give them all day on TV. You can order a million things. You can sit in front of this TV. You can play video games, and they want to sell you every single one of them. Pathetic. Pathetic. Pathetic people lead pathetic lives, and that's the blue pill world. They will play with each other's bodies and pretend that that's normal because they're bored. They will abuse each other. They expect a marriage to last when they sit there and sexually abuse each other, rubbing on each other all day, because both the morons couldn't figure out that they needed a project. Or they're too addicted with those chemicals that are running through their brain to ever figure out what's wrong. So they made a whole institution for it called marriage, bound in a religious theme, bow tapped with a little bow on it in a box delivered to your house. The biggest lie ever told to people. That's the biggest lie ever told to people. You need that. You don't need that. You know what you need to do? You need to get off the chair. You need to get this noodle working. You need to become Mgtow. You need to ask yourself a few questions. You need to get a dog that'll respect your sandwich, the sandwich space. I hear you. He's still outside. I still haven't found my sandwich. I'm still searching for my sandwich. That's what this channel's about. I'm still searching for my sandwich. Can't figure out who took it. That's all I got to say today, man. I hope you're all doing great. Hope you all got something to do. Mgtow, entertain yourself. You're good at it. I know you're good at it. And thanks a lot for coming around, and thanks a lot for listening to me. And most of all, thanks a lot for being Mgtow. Mgtow.